So a lot of times I call it hearts and love, right? You're writing lyrics, you're starting to tell your story, and it's really easy. You've heard songs your entire life. You've heard all the rhymes that have been used and overused and abused and beat to death, and they're ingrained in your head, and you love them because they're in all the songs you used to listen to. And so you tend to parrot them back, and you think that it's okay. You're throwing hearts and love and eyes and skies and all the easiest rhymes in the world, and you're able to just spit out songs quickly. This is where I say, the easy rhyme is a great way to have a placeholder, but it's a complete cop-out if you're just throwing it in there because it was easy and it kind of fits and you keep moving on. You will overuse lyrics in your own writing. If you start to catalog a lot of things, you'll see that you get into your own patterns of lyrics, and you tend to overuse early on in your career lyrics, or at least rhymes, that you've been hearing a ton. So the perfect example is, eyes and skies. Sure. How many people throw, I could see it in your eyes, and, oh, that look in your eyes, and it's always the eyes, because it's easy. And it's perfectly fine to have the word eyes as a lyric, but not just because it's the easy, low-hanging fruit. If you truly want to be a well-versed writer, you need to go further, deeper, spend more time, find a more impactful way of saying it. Stevie Wonder, at some point in his career, I was told, he didn't tell me, but he said, find a way to say something you hear every single day and just say it different. And you'll be blown away with how that catches the listener different. Because it catches them different, something happens and we like it. It's familiar, but different. So it's like the comfortable shoe, but it's a new shoe too. So I would really challenge people, when you're writing your lyrics, go ahead and put those placeholders there, but then go back and review yourself, critique yourself and say, I could see it in your eyes. What are you trying to say there? And maybe instead of I could see it in your eyes, is that what I see? Flip it around, flip the script, try to find another way to say it. And then just keep doing that to yourself so that you're not just parroting overused lines that have already been, their impact, so to speak, is wore out because we hear it so often. If you hear it different, the impact comes back. So exercise those muscles. Sure. Lyric.
I'll give you a real world example. This isn't a song. It's a piece of dialogue. Guy standing on a beach, and it's sort of this big moment. And he stands there and he says the sea always tells the truth. Like this big whole grand, the sea. Oh, and then the guys behind him are the sea. And they all repeat. The sea never lies. Is so much shorter. So much more direct, and so much more dramatic. It's less words, but it's the sea always tells the truth. And I was like, why wouldn't they say the sea never lies? That's just so much more. It's interesting though.
Yeah.
And you're saying the exact same thing, and one is actually even fancier, but the other one, the shorter one, is actually better, I think, in my opinion. Anyway.
Yeah, it is more impactful. It's just more impactful. So we should always go back and take the extra time. I mean, you and I have talked about in any of these creative fields, in anything we do, that first 75%, 80% is a lot of work, but that's not the hardest work. The hardest work is taking something that's good and not being done with it. It's taking that 80% and making it 110%. And you beat yourself up over and over and over again. And that's where you just like, can I beat that line? Can I do better? Can I do better? Can I make it easily understood, cohesive to the story, keeps our story moving in the right direction, works from the line before and ties to the line after, and at the same time is as impactful as it can be. And sometimes that impact is actually setting up something later. Does it set it up as good as it can set it up? So you have to keep asking those questions. Keep asking questions. Never just be like, yeah, that's good, and put it down and walk away. It can be better. Make it better. And it'll be done when it's done. When you'll know. When you just go through that song line by line. And here's the best test of that. Let's say I wrote a song and you've never heard it, Kevin. You've never heard this song.
Right.
And it's kind of important that you've never heard it. And I hand you the lyric sheet alone. And you read through that lyric sheet. You better know what I'm talking about. It better feel like a cohesive conversation. You know, I'm not gonna talk about my day if we're talking about my day and then suddenly jump over to physics. You know, those are disconnected. It needs to sound like I'm having that conversation. So you read the lyric, you read it through, and there's an exercise that I have a lot of writers do that I learned. Again, this is another one from Stephen Allen Davis. He said, man, put down the guitar and pick up the paper and just read it. And if you read it like you're reading it for the first time and it keeps moving like a regular story, that's great. If all of a sudden you said something that is a disconnect, you'll kind of feel it when you're just reading through it. So go ahead and do that. And then make it better if you feel that disconnect. Connect it. Make it more powerful. Say it in a different way.
That's tricky.